Hello, everybody. This is Pop Culture Curator. It's so good to see you, and welcome. This is the first episode of our stream that we will be reviewing Star Trek: The Animated Series. It will be hosted by Antiderivative Jill and myself. We'll be having our. She'll be coming along any moment. By the way, she's doing some behind the scenes work. But we will be covering Star Trek: The Animated Series. We will do one episode at a time, starting currently right now. It'll be as it stands right now. It'll be Mondays at around 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, and we'll start with Beyond the Farthest Star, the very first episode of the original series. It ran for 2 seasons, a total of 22 episodes. And the episodes run approximately about 25 minutes in length, so they're not an hour like the original series. But when it's animation, maybe that's for a good reason. In my opinion, though, I love the animated series so much I could watch it if they were an hour or 2 hours. And I wanted to welcome. We have a special guest, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Gorilla, welcome.
Welcome. Well, I think the reason they did half an hour was because it was probably really expensive to animate the stuff.
Oh yes, it was, and they knew they knew it was animated. What's interesting is that the makers of Star Trek, Roddenberry's writers, all them, they knew that it was still the same Star Trek audience. So what's great is they did not dumb down the scripts for little children. They're still just as sophisticated, in my opinion, as the original series. But the networks thought, well, it's a cartoon, it must be for kids. So yeah, Saturday mornings, half-hour slot, right? And that was one of the things that when it premiered, is it kind of some people were surprised because they weren't expecting it to be as sophisticated as it was. So I think that was a very good thing. At least, definitely for us. I think, in my opinion, I think it stands the test of time. Have you seen it before this episode? And we lost Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Okay. I guess I'm talking to myself. Um, oh, and look who's back.
Yeah,
Hello,
my computer's
hello.
been stupid since I updated it.
Oh, that's okay. That's what these things are always doing. Mine does the same thing. I just picked up my dog, so I thought maybe it was something that I bumped on my computer.
No, my Chrome browser just keeps on closing like all the time. So
Have you heard of the browser called Brave? Brave?
yeah, but for certain things I do for my stream, I specifically need Chrome
Gotcha.
because of the way the site's set up.
And here we have a very special surprise here. Well, it's co-host, good old anti-derivative Jill, which I could not be anywhere without her. Hello, Jill.
Hello.
So
How
good
are
to
you?
see you.
Great to see you too.
I'm doing great too. I'm excited. I was trying to fill the void with something to say. I didn't want to delay the stream
Oh
too
yeah.
long because
No,
I didn't want to
definitely
lose what. But I'm so glad to have you here, and I know you have things going on in the background, so that's totally
Yes.
understandable if you have to mute.
Yes. That might happen. That might not. I think I'm okay. I think I got the toddler in bed. So we should be good.
Perfect. We have Gorilla Random Thoughts is here to
Okay.
join us.
Welcome, Gorilla. It's great to see you.
Yeah, that's good. Good to see you
Gorilla,
too.
Gorilla, have you seen this episode? And if so, how long ago?
Let's see, it's 9:07 now. So if I do the math, I think it's been probably about 18 minutes and 36 seconds.
Wow,
Oh,
you watched recently. Cool.
yeah,
Oh,
same
then
here. I was so busy, I just finished watching it. In fact, just before this stream,
did you introduce the name of the episode?
I did.
Okay,
Um,
great. Yeah,
I
Beyond the
explained.
Farthest Star.
Yep, I. This is our first stream of reviewing Star Trek: The Animated Series. We are starting with the first episode from the first season, titled "Beyond the Farthest Star," and our streams will be Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central. Jill will be hosting on Tuesdays, usually around, isn't it like noon Central, Jill, somewhere around there?
I moved it up to 11 Central that way I could have more time.
Okay, gotcha. So you heard that, everybody. Her stream's going to be tomorrow at 11 Central Time, and we will be reviewing Star Trek, the original series, starting with the first episode, The Cage, which I'm also very excited about.
Yes, the first episode made, but it wasn't released until 1988. But we're looking at it first because it was a failed pilot. But I
Yes.
love it too. It's really great.
Oh, it is fantastic. I remember when it came out, all the excitement, and
Mhm.
I think it's called Fandom Events, that company that shows special events on theaters. They had it showing for a while, and a friend of mine and I went and
That's
saw
so
it on the big
cool.
screen. It was really nice. It was on an IMAX screen.
Wow, I need to pay attention to those fandom events. I would have loved to see something like that up there. Well,
That's the only one I've ever been to, was that one.
well, for reference today to the production of these episodes, we'll be reading from Star Trek: The Official Guide to the Animated Series, written by Aaron Harvey and Rich Shippey. And the idea to use official text instead of internet sources comes from our good friend Raquel, or R.M. Briggs, who is featured and provides lots of knowledge for Clyburn Times channel. So you should all subscribe to Clyburn Times and also read Raquel's amazing science fiction stories. So I should probably link those two things. Like that.
Cool. I think you have a wrench, don't you? I think.
Yeah, I do. I
All
do
right,
have
cool.
Rich.
I don't think my Stream Elements is going to work very well, so I'll give it a
No,
try.
I don't. No, it's fine.
Did you say you had another one that you're using or something else, an alternative?
I'm going to try Stream Elements.
Okay. Let me know how that works out. Anything's got to be an
Oh
improvement
wait,
over this
no.
one.
Streamlabs. Sorry, I'm going to try Streamlabs instead of Stream Elements. I signed up with
Streamlabs.
it, and it's the same thing. We'll just see if this one actually works.
Oh, it looks like it's worked.
No, that's me. That's working.
No,
I always work.
the stream elements is working.
Well, no, I put the Jill command in and it didn't show her channel. What you're seeing is what she put in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it should have showed her channel, but I don't know. I think it's been
That's
slacking
fine. That's
lately.
fine. That's fine.
Thank you, Jill.
And this book starts with the word from the authors. Aaron Harvey describes the animated series as a bridge between the 60s series and 1980s science fiction. And Rich Shippies did the amazing work of talking to the creators of the animated series, like David Gerald, Bob Klein, Fred Bronson, and Dorothy Fontana.
Very cool.
Bronson, in particular, shared some press releases that might be exclusive to this book, although, of course, once the book comes out, it becomes public knowledge, so it might be online by now.
Okay.
So, also, I really like the quote that Rich um, quotes from David Gerald about what it takes to be a Star Trek writer.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Star Trek is supposed to represent human beings getting along with each other. You have to live it in order to write it. I said to Gene one day, I'm so conscientious about that I have to represent Star Trek that I'm not even jaywalking anymore. And one of the reasons why one of the reasons why Star Trek is so effective and successful is that on its very, very most basic level, it says that there will be a future and we're all going to be part of it. It's going to be a good future and everybody will have a place in it. That's truly the underlying message of every Star Trek episode, but that's also a responsibility. That if you are entrusted with the responsibility of portraying and presenting that future, you have to live as if you're a part of that future, and you have to speak as if you're part of that future. You have to really take the time to be the kind of person who represents that future. It means walking the walk. That's the responsibility of Star Trek. Star Trek is supposed to be special.
See, that's obviously somebody who cares for the craft. They're not using it as a political platform, obviously.
Obviously, yes. And he very much
Yeah,
cares about it.
yeah, that's a stark difference between the writing back then and what we see these days. I really truly miss it.
Yeah, me
The
too.
dedication is incredible. I mean, it was funny when he said he doesn't even jaywalk. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was funny too. I do appreciate that when people don't dart out in front of me in the middle of the street.
oh, I know. I live in California, and they do it all the time. They'll do it with their kids in hand. They'll just cut out right out in front of traffic.
hmm I do appreciate when they use the crosswalk. That's
Yeah, and especially when they have, my heart skips a beat when I see them,
right.
cut in front of the cars with their kids.
hmm So,
But
so
that sounds.
the
Go
what was
ahead.
it? Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. What was the question?
No, that was a fantastic intro. I'm glad you shared that with us. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I have an
That's
intro
great to have
for
a
the
little bit of
animated
insight like that.
series too.
Okay.
That was just the author's note. This is part of the intro. It was too long to do all of it because, and so we'll split it up between episodes. But Star Trek the Animated Series was announced on March 2nd, 1973. The creators of this animated series reunited the creator, producers, writers, and actors of the original series. And even though it showed up in the Saturday morning block, it was not specifically written for children. It was written for all Star Trek fans. Lou Scheimer actually wanted to do a animated Star Trek Academy series with the crew as kids, but Gene said it had to be real Star Trek with the real cast, and with DC Fontana basically at the helm. And this was so much so that this series was simply called Star Trek. They didn't even add the animated series part until later. And between the 4 years in which Star Trek was canceled and the animated series was born, fans kept the show alive by watching reruns, starting fan clubs, fanzines, and going to conventions. Gene wanted all the original actors to play their roles, but the only one they couldn't get due to budget was Walter Koenig. And of course, one of the biggest benefits to animation versus live action is uh, is that the writers' imaginations can fly more easily. You can get stranger aliens, landscapes, and technology. And the animated series would go on to win an Emmy, which the original series unfortunately never managed. They won 1975 Outstanding Entertainment Children's Series Emmy. And that's because it wasn't written specifically for children. So of course it's going to stand out among a series of a bunch of other shows that were
What
made.
we right, everything else was Scooby Doo and Hong Kong Booey.
Yeah,
No knock to those cartoons. I do love them, but they're on a different level.
right. So after that, I have the episode review. So, um,
I remember this as a kid. I was already by the time this came out, it was like my dreams were coming true because I was already addicted Star Trek fan at that point. But
nice.
I was listening to your stream the other day how old people like us we had to wait week the next week for the next episode. And I remember sometimes where it was delayed, they wouldn't show up for a week or two before you saw the next episode.
hmm
And it was really the anticipation was incredible. We anticipated this just like an episode of the original series, and then of course it was extended when the movies came out. We had to wait 2 or 3 years between those.
Right, right. I didn't get to experience that. I binge watched all of Star Trek in college.
I
So
know I heard that and I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine what that's like.
yeah, right. No, okay. So I cry at Wrath of Khan, and then I turn around and watch Star Trek 3, and I'm good to go.
Immediately after, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we had. I wanted to bring something. You may already know it. You guys were talking briefly, and I know this is off topic about the animated series. Sorry, everybody. I'll make it fast. But you were talking about the way Captain Kirk died, and you had that poll about who had the worst, pretty much the horrible, most, I
hmm
guess, terrible death.
Yes.
All right, are you aware that he was originally shot in the back, and we had to reshoot that?
No. It was that. That. probably didn't go over well with the audience.
Well, here's what happened: is before the movie came out, they had pretty much finished it. They were doing the soundtrack, and they were doing the press junket where the stars were going around doing interviews, right? And there was an interview with, by the way, this has changed history. All right, there was an interview with Malcolm McDowell, and he was all bragging and everything. Oh yeah, I'm in Star Trek. I'm the one that gets to kill Captain Kirk, and that was a secret at that point. He wasn't supposed to say that. And the reporter said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, shoot him in the back." Paramount heard word, and they went back, and that's why they reshot it. So they showed the bridge with him on
Wow.
the whole bridge segment was all redone.
Yeah. Well, in
So
all fairness, though, in all fairness, though, Captain Kirk did die on a bridge.
Not
under a bridge.
No, he's still on top of it.
oh dear.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. Yeah, I guess at least he was still on the bridge. But I don't know. I agree with you, by the way. I thought that was the worst death ever, too. I heard
Yeah,
people on the stream saying he should have out in battle or something, which I totally agree.
I don't know. Tasha Yars could match that. How bad hers was.
She asked to get off the show, so she asked. She got.
yeah.
what
She
wanted.
actually wanted to. She wanted her
Yeah, but they
actress
could.
wanted to die, but yeah, they could have done it better for sure. But we have more of a connection with Captain Kirk than we ever did with Tasha. Oh, I'll be right back. I gotta.
Go for it. Yeah, and which reminds me, we're talking about the episode with Tasha Yar. The plot of that episode was that the Enterprise arrived at a planet, and there was an evil alien that was nothing but evil and evil, and there was no way of correcting it or fixing it. So the episode ended up where the Enterprise just left that shit. In fact, when Troy, I don't know if she mind melded or what her plot was, but I remember her. She described the alien as abandoned and betrayed. The alien
Oh,
felt abandoned and betrayed, but it was
oh,
killing people. The
well,
tar creature.
yeah. What it was is her shuttle got pulled out into the planet and crashed into
Yes,
side of the mountains there,
right.
and Artemis could talk. So when you surround the shuttle there, she was actually talking to him. It was a
Yes,
moving pile of tar. She could actually talk to him, and he talked to her. He could talk to anybody there. He could actually talk.
right. Well, what I was saying is the similarity between that and this episode for tonight, or the animated episode, is it's almost the same thing. It's an evil alien who can talk. They do communicate with it. It's lonely on a planet. It's trying to leave, and they do not leave it. They do not take it with them. They leave it, and it's so. I was thinking that episode with Tasha Yar and this episode are very similar, kind of. I don't know if you guys thought about it from that point of view. You'll see that's basically the gist of it. Is they find I don't well, I was going to say give away spoilers, but this show is 50 years old, so. But yeah, they find
Yeah,
an evil alien that apparently seems to be evil. They can't trust it. It wants to go with them. They don't want it to go with them because it's evil. So they find a way to leave it behind.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
Hello, Jill, again.
oh,
What did
she's
I
back.
miss?
We gotta stop talking about her. I'm
Okay,
kidding. I'm kidding.
Jill. Yeah, Jill, I wanted to ask your opinion. This is what I was just
Sure.
asking Gorilla. I see a lot of similarities between this episode of The Moon with Tasha Yar,
This
where she
episode.
died.
What? This episode's way better.
Oh, of course it's. I'm not. Oh, I'd never judge quality compared to this.
Oh, okay.
No, it's generally what happens is the Enterprise goes to a planet. There's one living entity which seems to be evil, and it's
True.
lonely. It's lonely.
Oh, that's a good point.
It even tells Troy abandoned and betrayed.
Right, but it only
They're also
yeah.
able to communicate with it, right?
Yeah, but we only find out it's lonely at the very end, and there's like,
Right,
okay, gotta get out of here.
just like tonight's episode. And it wants to go with them, and they say no. They pretty much leave it behind.
hmm
That's the only similarities I would say. But yeah,
Sure.
this episode is far better. It's just that when I was watching it, I started thinking about that one episode.
Oh yeah.
They're different aliens altogether and all that. I admit, but I'm ready to start whenever you are. Sorry if I'm babbling on.
Oh, that's fine. That's what you need to do for the show because I keep having to get up. Oh,
Well,
did we say
anytime you
hello
need
in
to,
the
that's
chat
fine.
Hey
to
there, Aravic. Welcome.
Yeah,
Hello,
did we
Arabic
say
Saunders. Sorry, I didn't even see.
yeah, Eric Saunders in the chat. Hi.
So good to see you, and welcome. Welcome to our first stream, our first review of the animated series.
Yeah, he
Tomorrow will
said.
be Jill.
Oh yeah, tomorrow we're gonna review the cage. Yep. Eric Saunders says TAS is underrated. Oh, crap. Okay. Sorry.
Go for it, Jill. Thank you. Yeah, Eric Sonder in the chat says, "Hail at Pop Culture. TAS is underrated." I totally agree. One thing that I noticed too, I could probably talk about this forever, but I watched this episode just before the stream tonight because I wanted it to be fresh in my mind. And another thing that really, really stands out that I really appreciate is that Paramount did not go back and redo the special effects like they did the original series. So I know the animation in here is not Disney quality; it's not the highest thing out there, but I really love the Filmation animation, and I'm really happy to see the original animation completely restored, none of it altered. And but of course, I'm also a person that prefers the original series without the extra special effects. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, Rilla?
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good for 70s animation.
No, no, no. You mean the cartoon?
The what?
You mean the animation, the one we're watching now, the animated series?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. That's what I was saying. Yeah, in fact, some people say, well, it's cheap or whatever. Well, this is about what animation looked like in the '70s for the budget they had. So, I love the animation.
I think it's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
do I. And for a Saturday morning cartoon, I think the animation is very sophisticated too. You
Yeah.
can tell they spent some time on it.
Yeah. I wouldn't fly nowadays.
Mm.
I don't know. It's almost like a precursor to anime, in my opinion.
Yeah. No. But like if you look at like Lower Decks or Prodigy, they're how much more 3D and CGI it is versus this was all hand drawn, wasn't it?
I'd say that the backgrounds and the tech and everything looks great on Lower Decks, but the actual character design, they don't really look like real people. So at
Yeah.
least in this series, they look realistic.
And yes, you're right. They are hand drawn. That's another thing too. Yes. This is back in the days where they actually had to click a frame, take a snapshot of a frame, move it just slightly, take a snapshot, move it just slightly.
Oh, that would suck.
Well, it worked for then. People did that for decades before CGI came along, and I preferred this over CGI any day. But Jill, I was explaining when you were busy that how much I like the animation and that I appreciate that Paramount has not went back and changed the animation or tried to update it like they did the original series
Yeah,
because
they probably just haven't gotten to it.
hopefully they don't because I like it. It's just
Hmm.
I don't know. It just changes the taste or the flavor. Like the original series, when I watch it and I see the new special effects, by today's standards, the CGI looks cartoony and it doesn't look real. So I'd rather just look at the models again, the original version.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
that's
got
just an.
you.
You have both.
I like both.
Well, I don't have the Blu-ray set yet, but I heard the Blu-ray set has both. I guess, right?
Yes, yes, you can switch between the two.
Can you
But
do it on the fly, like during an episode?
I think so. I haven't really played around that much.
That's fine.
Hey,
And
wasn't this episode though inspired by some book that was written in the 40s?
Tell
Jules
me
Verne
more.
wrote a book. Based on a story by Jules. Well, the title is based on a Jules Verne story, but I was reading the writer. I think David Gerald is the writer. I think
For this episode, the writer is Samuel Peoples, who wrote
Samuel Peebles.
pilots for Star Trek, the original series. He wrote The Cage and Where No Man had Gone Before.
You're right. In the production, I guess when they got this job, DC Fontana pretty much called them up and said, you wrote the pilot for the original series. You want to write the pilot for the animated series?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I guess he had heard of this title before. It's based on a story by Jules Verne, but I don't know if he necessarily based the story itself on that story. I don't know how much in detail it goes. If anything, the story kind of reminds me of the movie Forbidden Planet.
Oh
But
yeah. I love Forbidden Planet.
so do I. When they're in the room where it's shielded and they can't get a signal out in this episode,
Hmm.
and that whatever it is trying to get into that wall, into the door, reminds you right out of Forbidden Planet. But
Oh, you're right. I didn't think about that. The episode first aired on September 8th, 1973, exactly 7 years after The Man Trap first aired. So that was cool. And we have all the old crew back except for Chekhov. And
And for this first episode, they were able to have all the crew in one studio while recording the audio, which didn't always, pertain,
oh
didn't
yeah,
always
today
happen.
it wouldn't happen. People would just record wherever they were.
A lot of people have, big actors have studios in their homes. They just do it
Hmm.
from home.
Exactly. But instead of Chekhov, so for our navigator, we get a new crew member named Eric's. Oh, I have some slides if you want to share them. Yeah. Oh, how did you do that? And there's Eric's there. So he's a Eric's is a Dosian who was Chekhov's instructor at Starfleet Academy, even though he didn't graduate himself. Nevertheless, he's stated to be one of the best navigators in the fleet. And
I
and
like that they kept the same basic camera angles that the series did too. They didn't give up that. They didn't give away the fourth wall.
yeah, that's true. I also like the opening theme too. It's just distinctive enough that you can tell it apart from the original series. But
Exactly, it has the theme. You could tell if you had never heard it before. It's like it kind of sounds like Star Trek.
hmm
So yeah, they played homage to it, which I love it. All the music in this is I highly recommend everybody. You can find the entire soundtrack on YouTube. I highly recommend it.
yeah, me too. The episode opens with the Enterprise exploring the fringe of the galaxy towards Questar M17, some old dead star, because they found some radio emissions. Um, and this dead star is providing some hypergravity, which is pulling the Enterprise toward it at increasing speeds. Sulu claims the helm has lost control. And actually, hypergravity is a real scientific term referring to gravity forces that are stronger than that found on Earth. Spock then reports that the object here is negative mass, which was fictional then, but in 2017, physicists actually created a liquid with negative mass. An article on the matter says, push it, and unlike every physical object in the world we know, it doesn't accelerate in the direction it was pushed, it accelerates backwards.
That's fascinating. Leave it to Star Trek again, huh?
Yeah, well, Star Trek's always doing that. They're always coming up with their imagination. The imagination of these writers are compelling because they're real science fiction authors.
Exactly, exactly.
In order to avoid smashing into the object, the Enterprise attains orbit. So, in the meantime, Spock is working on calculations to see if they can slingshot their way away from the star. And that's the dead star there. And Uhura is hearing the radio again. She says 9 seconds, right ascension from galactic plane. And this is great phrasing because it's also how you would actually explain the universe in real astrophysics,
Yes, and it's on a Saturday morning kids cartoon. What do you know?
right? It's really great. One day I actually want to learn some astrophysics. I have the background for it, but just haven't got around to it. Nearby this object is another ship, very different from the Enterprise. So, made of unknown metal. Oh, but we're not quite there yet. And I guess the starship is going towards it. There it is.
I gotta say that's a pretty neat looking ship.
Actually, what I read was that Bob Klein went through. Um, he didn't know anything about the script, so he had to draw like 100 different ships before he figured out exactly what Gene wanted.
Yeah, Roddenberry was very picky.
Yeah, but eventually he figured out that it needed to be weird and organic. Like every time he came up with a ship, they said it's not weird enough. And Uhura says that this ship is what's responsible for the radio emissions, and Spock agrees but can't see how because the ship seems dead and doesn't have any energy. So then Spock says it's been around for 300 million years. So they're going to explore it.
I thought maybe it was odd that Spock. I don't. Of course, I'm not even going to compare to the writers,
Hmm.
but it would have been nice if they would have said no living being on them. It could be artificial life form on there that doesn't put out heat or life form. I don't know.
Oh right, yeah. That distinction was not made between living or inorganic life form.
Right. And Spock will he'll mention again that it's 0 degrees on the inside, no atmosphere, so it's got to be
Hmm.
empty. But I
Yeah,
don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's a good point.
Well,
So go ahead.
well, Pop, I think this falls under the same logic that they did in I can't remember what the Enterprise episode with when they found a silicon-based life form, but they probably were comparing life forms that like the way we are, where it has to be with everything has to be within a certain temp, and they're probably looking for carbon-based.
Right, or
So
Devil in the
therefore,
Dark. You're talking about Devil in the
so
Dark.
is that the episode in Enterprise?
Enterprise
Oh,
is the 2001 to
oh,
2005 series.
I'm sorry. When you said silicon-based life, I thought you meant the Horta.
Oh no, no, no! I was talking about like a different one on Enterprise where
Okay,
they ran into some silicon based life forms, but they weren't looking for silicon based because they didn't think silicon based life forms could survive. So they only look for carbon based. Where I think on
gotcha.
this, when it's absolute zero and no oxygen, they're not really looking for a life form because it's not comparative to what we are used to. If you
Right.
look at all the other aliens, they're carbon based and they have to live in a certain long certain temps and have to have some kind of atmosphere.
Yep.
So there's nothing except a slight magnetic flux reading, and that magnetic flux reading fluctuates throughout the episode. And so we get the first transporter scene here.
And if I may shout out to Kyle, and is it Ensign Kyle? He's from the original series. He's in the animated series. And he's also in the new movies. He's in Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, transporter Chief Kyle. But
Yes,
in this animated series, he's voiced by
James
James
Doohan,
Doohan.
who does almost everybody. Him and Majel Barrett, I guess, right?
Right.
So we don't get Asian Kyle.
Agent.
No,
Asian.
that doesn't happen until much later.
No,
I don't know about that.
This is actual Chief Kyle. Uh
And and
Transporter Chief Kyle.
and this is actual Trek we're talking about. Yeah,
Right,
actual real
exactly.
Star Trek. Yeah.
Real Star Trek here. Uh, and and they also they're wearing their life support belts which protect them instead of spacesuits, and I think that's a pretty cool idea that I wouldn't have minded if they would have carried on.
I
Yeah,
got a
absolutely.
question.
Yes.
I got a question here. So if they had this tech since whatever year the animated series took place, where the hell was this tech in TNG, DS9, Voyager, uh, and all that other stuff?
That's what I'm saying. I wish they would have carried on with it. It was a great idea. Plus, it saves money on not having to invent spacesuits.
Right. Well, the only thing is they'd have to have the field. It would be the special effects budget because they would have to show a glowing field of some kind around their bodies. I think that's what it comes down to. It's
Oh,
cheaper to
that'd
do
be.
that in one series.
Oh no, that wouldn't. They wouldn't necessarily have to do that. They could just go hit the button, do a quick like light there to show it's activated, then call her good, and only have to have it lit up if they got. They'd only have to have it lit up if it actually got hit with something.
That's possible.
that's all they need. That's all they will really need to do.
Mhm. Yeah, and they explore the ship, noting its hexagonal windows and drawing parallels to insect nests like beehives.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question: did anybody else think that this was an insectoid race when they
Yeah,
first saw the ship?
I thought it was eggs that had hatched, but they didn't even think about that. They didn't bring that up. I thought that maybe it was an ancient alien species with eggs that all hatched, and then they left the pods, and they could be living somewhere, but they don't seem to cover that. Or that's
no,
not the plot. No.
no, we don't get to learn much about the aliens who lived here.
Yeah, we just know that people escaped. Yeah.
Hmm. So they look at the material of the ship and can't recognize the metal, except that it's spun like spider silk, which, that it's lighter and stronger than the metal that they know of. And in 2009, scientists have figured out how to make spider silk stronger than steel by mixing a little metal into it. So, so that's fun.
Wow. We also have transparent aluminum now too, right?
Right, that's right from Star Trek 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you,
Hello,
Scotty.
computer. I know so many people who have set their Alexa or their Alexas to that.
Yeah, but then you can't watch Star Trek without making setting off your Alexa.
No, you just a lot of people have it set to their own voice there.
Oh, okay.
Except for about 20,000 people that were watching Tim Pool's show when someone super chatted, "Hey Alexa, buy Michael Knowles' book Speechless." There, then all of a sudden they had like 20,000 comments saying that their Alexas just went off buying the book.
So you can change the word Alexa for the command on that.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and you can even set it so it only recognizes your voice.
No, I mean if you could change the word itself, Alexa, to something else like computer.
Yeah, you
Can you do
can.
Yeah,
that?
you can.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Do you guys, either of you, have one?
No,
No.
Yeah, because I don't see the use of it. But okay, I thought I was the only one. I don't know.
no, I haven't bought into it yet. So each pod of the ship has been destroyed from the inside, and Spock considers that the crew of the ship destroyed it themselves. And inside the craft, they find something active that has energy that's building, which is interesting because Spock earlier reported that the ship was dead and read as having no discernible energy. Spock
That's true.
calls Spock calls the tentacles on it wands that attract the energy. And Scotty and Dr. McCoy get a feeling of foreboding, but Spock plays it off as superstition because he suppresses those emotions. He doesn't have the same, I guess, the same intuition.
Yeah. And
And
welcome, son of a red shirt.
oh yeah, hello, son
Glad
of a
you got a
Richard.
clean bill of health.
Hello, son of a Richard. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're out of the hospital.
Yeah, he's gonna crack his knuckles and jump for joy. I got a clean bill of health
That
from
is
Dr.
great to
McCoy.
hear, son of a red shirt. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us.
Yay.
This is our first episode. I hope you can make many more.
Yeah, and and that's why I like this episode because it provides a lot of foreshadowing here because those the crew members having those feelings, they're quite correct. Then they find the engineering portion of the ship. Oh, here's the wands. Here's the wands that I was talking about. Here's the active thing.
Right,
It's
and they're
something.
actually flashing, so there is power.
Yeah, there's power and it's absorbing power.
Hmm.
And one thing about this that was weird to me is that they're in this force field, but they can still use their phasers. Wasn't not
So
sure
they,
how that works.
right, they don't have to lower their force field to shoot the phasers like with their ship, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works exactly, but
Very carefully.
okay.
Maybe like a bubble. You know, a bubble you can stick a needle through, but it won't pop.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, that's a
Maybe
good
they,
idea.
maybe they got the phasers calibrated to the same frequency as their air bubble.
That would solve the problem. Thank you,
Well, yeah,
TNG.
like a
Techno
frequency, right? Like a
Yeah,
frequency.
too bad they couldn't think of that throughout any other show. so that we wouldn't have that little plot hole of not beaming up, not being able to beam up through the shields. But they always fired phasers through shields throughout any of the series. They've always had their shields
Well,
up.
you have to. If you're in battle, right?
Hmm.
And notice this is also the scene where they don't bother to try to figure out how to open the door. They just blast it with a phaser. There's no time for that.
Yeah,
I thought
fuck
that
it.
was funny.
Yeah,
it,
fuck it.
Spock just like, yeah, no, this will work. Don't worry about it.
Right, right. 30 minutes, people.
No, well, 20 minutes with commercials.
So
Right.
they,
This is
yeah, go ahead.
well. I'm just going to say this is the room that reminded me of from the scene from Forbidden Planet.
Oh, really?
This whole scene, yeah.
Yeah, this. Oh, right. This does kind of look like that.
Yeah, and there's a similar scene in Lost in Space.
Are you talking about the laboratory?
Yes, the laboratory where they're blocked from the id, that's trying to bang in from the outside. They have the actors Walter Pigeon and Leslie Nielsen and Anne Francis and Robbie the Robot. Sorry,
Yeah.
I love that scene because it scared the you know what out of me when I was a kid when that thing was trying to bust through the door and you didn't know what it was. That there's the mystery and the suspense behind it.
Oh, and Son of Red Shirt says, not quite home yet, but when I do get there, I hope you're still on. Would love to hear the show.
All right, drive safe, sir.
Yeah. And I guess this would kind of be what they call the engineering portion of the ship, where Spock says the gravity in the air is nearly matching Earth's. They don't really say how or why.
But
And
did they mention that that may have been the last room that whoever was there was in? And then that's when McCoy said, "I wonder why they left or how they."
something
I,
like
I
that.
could be wrong.
Something like that. Kirk realizes that he can't communicate with the ship and with the Enterprise, and Scotty realizes that his phaser doesn't work. So communicators are dead. The phasers are dead, and their energy seems to have been drained. They recognize this thing that we're going to see here in a second, as a navigational control. Somehow Spock knows that this interface was added specifically to this room to protect it from something. How he knows that, I have no idea. He knows that it was. I guess he recognizes it as foreign to the original design of the ship, uh, and that it's still active 300 million years later. And then the crew is turning their direction to this door. So there's that door you're talking about that reminds you of Forbidden Planet.
Yes.
And and they realize that something's trying to break through. And meanwhile, the jury-rigged machine finally begins to repeat some type of message that Spock's somehow able to translate. Um, they, the, it, the episode kind of hand waves Spock's incredible ability to make sense out of a 300 million year old computer system. So we could hear this alien. So I guess it does kind of look like a insect. If you think about it, it has those eyes with the multi.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah. It seems to match the biology of the ship.
Hmm. Yeah, even though we don't get to see the full alien.
And give Spock credit. He did move very slowly during this scene when he was trying to interpret.
Yes, it took him a little while. And you can tell that these aliens are much bigger than humans because their keyboard is so much bigger.
Well, that's true. I wouldn't want to be there when they're alive.
Yeah.
But they sounded like they're friendly from the gist of it because
Yeah,
it
they
is a
did.
war. Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
warning.
yeah, it's a warning. It says, "Danger, danger, the dead star. We are being drawn to it. Rather than carry this malevolent life form to other worlds, we have decided to destroy our own ship. There is no other answer. If you understand this message, you are protected only from this moment and this room. This thing wants." But before we find out what it wants, everything just blows up and everything explodes.
Which is
Well,
great is because as soon as everything explodes, the room is exposed, and the Enterprise can see them and beams them up.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. Transporter Chief Kyle has a lock on them because of Hura's orders, or because of Captain Kirk's orders to Uhura. And
Mm-hmm.
Good thing they had those belts that we never see again.
no, no, well, we'll
Oh
see
no, then we see it
the
again. Then
end.
we see him again. They're,
Okay, in any other series.
in
Yeah,
this series, well, in this series, remember, let me put it this way: they're waterproof too.
hmm yeah, no, I absolutely would. This is one technology that could have carried, and it
Yeah,
didn't.
especially during the Dominion War,
hmm How many lives it would have saved?
Why were they out in
or at
space?
least postpone their deaths.
Mhm. they so so in this case, transporter chief Kyle is able to bring. Sorry,
Ah, somebody's happy.
yeah, that's my kid. So transporter chief Kyle is able to bring the crew back, but he also brings green this green fog too. They try to transport it back, but they fail. Um, and it does this weird evil laugh through the intercom and starts invading the ship. And at first, nothing seems like it's wrong, but then Scotty reminds Captain Kirk that the alien had to destroy itself because of this thing. So Kirk orders preparations to potentially have to do the same thing. And all Spock can read from the bridge is a fluctuating magnetic pulse, which they liken to a beating heart. In order to build tension and danger, and also because the invader of this ship doesn't really care about the life forms or the people on the ship that it's invading. It
Which
starts to
makes, yeah, it makes sense. It doesn't need it. It doesn't need life support.
right. It needs some
Hello,
of the crew,
team.
but not all of the crew. Oh, hello, hello, Hakeem.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's shutting down life support in areas of the ship where there are people.
hmm
So that means it is killing them.
But thanks to that nifty life support belt, they're not really not all they're
Oh,
not really dying.
so they
They
all do have one
Yeah,
handy.
everybody has them handy. They have them
Good.
on their
Okay.
they have them all in their quarters, and so they're okay.
Thank you.
Oh, oh yeah. And Scotty was trying to get to the core to gain control over the ship again, but he gets trapped by its cover somehow. Um, and he's only protected by that life support belt. And overriding and manual systems don't work because the the entity is magnetizing everything. So
So does
then,
that mean that life support belt will stop you from being crushed? Is that what it's doing? Like a force field?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
apparently
yeah, it's like a
that,
force
Oh,
field.
well,
that's
that's
what I
very
got from
handy.
it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, super handy. I love it. Might be a little overpowered.
A little magical.
So, in order to get Scotty free, they have to use these cutter beams. And further loss of control of the ship is realized when the ship's phaser banks are used to destroy the old alien ship. And Sulu couldn't override this. And one interesting thing about George Takei during the production of this was that the episode premiered everywhere on September 8th except in LA because George Takei was running for city council. And his opponents said that letting the episode air would give him unfair extra airtime, which they said was against the rules. And so it worked. And so this episode didn't air until December in LA.
I heard that story too, but I never looked up to see if he won or not.
Yeah, because that's just like free advertisement for George Takei for the people who don't pay attention. Go, oh hey, I recognize him. I'm gonna vote for him.
Well,
It's no
plus,
different.
yeah, plus he didn't have to pay for it exactly. It was free
Yeah,
because
and
all
it's no
paid by
different.
Paramount for
It's no
Disney
different
movies.
than Stacey Abrams appearing on what was it, Discovery? Yeah, Discovery. Oh, that got
So
quiet.
So Scotty can't even get to the core with the cutter beams that saved his life because their energy is drained. So the cutter beams that helped us get through things before are now not helping because their energy was drained. So now decks 3, 4, and 5 have also lost life support, and so those belts are really coming in handy so that there aren't too many deaths on the show. Because
Maybe
without,
now we know why they weren't in the rest of the series. Maybe
yeah,
they're
exactly, it's too
yeah
easy, right? Because it would have meant certain death for the crew in the original series.
Yeah, too
yeah.
bad they don't have this. Too bad that it's never been invented. Some tool with maybe a metal blade or something that could cut through things. Too bad that was never invented.
Well, at least we did get the holodeck from the show, right?
Yeah, ain't there a holodeck on this here on the animated series? I thought there was.
Yeah,
Yes,
there is
there
an
is.
episode with the holodeck, and
Right, they
Helen.
actually. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I heard that originally they had hoped to introduce that in the original series, but they weren't able to. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's
Oh, they did.
probably too expensive.
Hello, hello, Scotty.
Hi,
Hello.
Scotty.
Hello.
Ahoy, Scotty R37.
Yeah, welcome, Scotty. Glad you're here. Hello, Hakeem. And thank you for everybody in the chat for attending. This is our first episode of reviews of Star Trek the Animated Series. Beyond the Farthest Star, we're having a blast, so we're so glad you could join us.
Oh yeah, and also Charles Bard is here. He says this is a good episode, but the one I really like is Time Trap. It makes me think
Oh, yes.
he
Hello,
might have
Charles.
had something to do with that. Hmm.
Ooh, huh,
I,
interesting.
and Spock now reports that the fluctuating, the magnetic flux is reading very high. Uh, I guess that's a bit redundant. Kirk has the idea to put up a low frequency shield like the one that protected the machine, the alien ship, that one room. But in this case, Spock makes a much smaller one that only encompasses the navigational controls.
Yes.
Oh, let me grab that for you. There's an ugly bot in there, and I just killed it.
So, thank you. Oh, I see.
Oh,
Mine,
there's another one.
does that mean I finally made it? Am I in the big time now? I'm getting bots?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's my first time.
yeah. You finally made it. You got bots that are distracting me from the.
Sorry about that. I'll pay attention.
That's okay.
I'll
No,
try
that's
to
fine.
kill him.
That's what you got mods for.
So I'm the only one here.
Oh,
So McCoy
wait, am I a
says,
mod? I don't know if I'm a mod or
"Oh, are you?
Are you
Oh
in the
yeah,
chat?
you're a mod. Yeah, but you're on the panel." Scotty
So are you.
R7 says sexocomps.
My channel's so small, I don't have a lot of
Hey,
mods.
I love the exocomps. That's one of my favorite TNG episodes, Scotty. So Kirk. So anyway, McCoy says, "Jim, you don't think that's going to help us? Whatever that thing is, it survived millennia in a dead Hulk. All it has to do is outlast us and just take over." But Kirk doesn't agree. He says, "No, it must be held by the magnetic force of the dead star, and it needs a starship to break free and a crew to maintain it and to man it." And the alien speaks to Kirk, confirming these suspicions, and orders Spock's shield on the navigational controls to be removed, and even fires some kind of green beam from itself to knock Captain Kirk over, and Spock also when he tries to help.
Notice their belt is lit up, which means that they may have died if they didn't have that belt on. I guess, right?
I think so.
Yeah, if only that could have happened to Wesley.
Mm-hmm. Hakeem says, "Yep, when the sex bots pop up, you know you made it." I don't know.
Oh, hi, Scotty R37.
So Kirk says he'll listen, but instead of listening, of course, he instead pushes a button and puts a life support belt on it. Somehow, for some reason, the alien's unhappy about this. I don't know. I guess it disabled the controls somehow, or I guess
I was reading that. I guess he's thinking that the signal from it cannot penetrate the belt.
yeah.
Not
I
sure.
guess.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Not perfect.
well, if you think of the function of the belt, it provides force field over it, but Spock already put a force field on it.
Yeah, he put out that buckle, right?
So yeah, I have no idea. Scotty is now ordered to install auxiliary controls. And so he's starting to do that. And the best part is best said by Spock himself, so I'll read it verbatim. Kirk says, "What are we dealing with here?" Spock says, "High rank probabilities, Captain. It is a magnetic organism without mass, but capable of symbiotic relationship with the host body. A starship, for instance. It is a form of primal energy, and it can utilize the electronic control systems of a starship like the mind of a man uses the neural control systems of the human body. It has become the Enterprise, and we are only life support organisms in its body, like the white corpuscles in human blood. And, Captain, the magnetic flux readings are higher. It is growing stronger, building itself." Oh, and hey, Scotty, thanks for subscribing to Pop Culture Curator.
Thank you, Scotty. I'm so glad you're here. And Stream Elements, you're fired.
Then Kirk asks Spock to calculate a way to slingshot away from this hypergravity star, like suggested earlier, because everybody's really. The gravity is forcing these ships to be pulled towards it. So slingshotting is the only way to get out. And at this, the alien orders a course plotted for the heart of the galaxy, where it can reproduce and overtake more starships. And hello in the chat to Dalek451. Yeah, I
Hey,
know.
Dalek.
I realize that there are so many different streams going on and stuff. So next week we're going to have this show at 7 because I realize I'm streaming over somebody I really love. So I forgot that.
Oh, really? Who's
Yeah,
that? I'm sorry.
it's Clab. Well, I didn't want to say Clobberin times.
Oh,
Um,
it may,
so next week,
you can plug that channel if you want. I don't mind.
well, yeah, we'll stream next week at 7.
Oh
I
shoot!
should,
So we're changing the time on
Wait,
me.
you
yeah,
mean seven your time, right, Jill?
yeah, 7 my time.
Okay, so that's 5 p.m. my time. All right, I
So,
can do that. I'll
so I'm
change
gonna,
my stuff.
okay. So I'm
Let's
gonna have to
see.
change my schedule around.
Can you make that?
I should be able to. I'll just have to change some things around.
And by the way, hello, Dalek and Jedi Bill. Hail, brother.
Hey, hey, Jedi.
At this, the alien orders. Okay, right, I already said that.
I
So
do like
anyway,
Hackney says.
oh yeah, watch them
You're
all in different
cross-eyed.
tabs. I can't say I haven't done that. Oh, Scotty R37 says I read the Alan Dean Foster adaptation of this. I have those books. I just need to read them. And Scotty
I'm
says,
looking
"Don't
for
tell
that.
me about time. We don't have the time. Actually, we have time."
I'm looking for that. I wanted to post it at the top. I don't see it.
So, in order to defeat this alien, we get a classic Kirk fake out, where the alien thinks that Kirk is more ready to destroy the ship by allowing it to crash into the dead star.
Duh.
Because Kirk looks like he's ramming the Enterprise into the star because he's not accelerating the ship away from the Enterprise's degrading orbit. So it's a game of chicken, and Kirk wins.
Yeah.
As
The only thing that would make the seat better if Kirk was yelling kamikaze.
Okay. As the green alien is afraid that Kirk is going to destroy the ship, just like the 300 million year old aliens did, and so it works. It leaves, the green alien leaves the ship, and Spock uses his slingshot calculations to escape the star. It turns out the alien was lonely, but oh well, it was going to take over, all of the Federation and any ships it could find, so it pretty much had to be left behind, I guess.
Oh yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, even given its malicious intentions, it is a little bit strange that the crew completely ignores how lonely it is. It says, "Please, don't leave me alone."
Well, but yeah, but the question is, what are you going to do? And if you change your mind and say, "Oh, we feel sorry, but let's bring it with us," you don't know its intentions, and look
Yeah,
how
right.
hard it is to stop
Well, no,
Mhm.
maybe if he didn't try taking over the ship,
killing
shooting
everybody.
Spock, or
Yeah,
shooting Kirk, even though Kirk probably liked it there. There, maybe they will have found a phone for it, but
Did they ever ask you where? What are you looking for? Where you want to go? What is
No,
your
they didn't.
destination?
you gotta remember this is cowboy diplomacy. You shoot first, then ask questions.
Well,
No, they
maybe
didn't.
the alien's thinking just anywhere but here. I just wanted to
This
work
was
it out.
this was the last. This was that was the last scene. It just said I'm lonely in the story.
Directed by Hal Sutherland, everybody. I wanted to bring up something. If you guys already know it, I apologize. But the director Hal Sutherland was colorblind, so you will see a lot of pinks used in this episode because he couldn't see them when the animators were doing them.
Oh, so that's gonna come up again when we get to the tribbles, huh?
Yeah, several episodes you'll see a lot of pink.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
the
expecting more in this one, but we didn't see so much pink.
And Scotty R37 says the whale of loneliness, kind of like Armus, malevolence, abandoned.
I need to check out that Aladdin Foster adaptation. That would be interesting.
It would be, it would have been cool if I would have read that before this, but that's a lot of work. I got a lot of stuff. The Zinti, Kazinti, right? Hmm.
Well, glad you could join us, Dalek. In my opinion, I know there's a lot of streams going on, but I think you picked the best one here. I'm a little
Oh
biased.
right, oh right. They have a pink uh, outfit, the Kazinti.
Right, Malevolence Abandoned, just like the alien with the Tasha Yar episode. It was just an evil alien, and they left it and said goodbye. You killed one of our crew members, even though she decided to leave our show.
Yeah,
yeah the I don't know what he's talking about there.
and that's
The
all I had
Zinti?
for the episode. Yeah, they're kind of like a cat-like alien race in the animated series.
Yeah, they should. There's a female. She purrs when she talks.
They have him in Lord Dex, the Doctor.
Oh yeah, Emrys.
Oh.
Emrys. Yeah, played by Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah, and I do have to shout out to another thing. Is rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols. She just passed away a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and she will be sorely missed. A true legend, honestly.
and and we can relive her legacy anytime we need to. Rewatching the series.
Right.
Well,
You know, and then that makes me appreciate like watching these episodes. I was thinking about her as I'm watching it, and I'm just so glad she stuck with the show. It would not be the same without her.
well, with
Me
So,
too.
her legacy um, is from how she acted outside the show. A lot of these actors, you cannot tolerate them outside of there. You just want them to tell them to shut the up, especially on Twitter. I can name quite a few people I want to want to say just shut the f up on Twitter.
oh, it's their politics. We don't want to hear their politics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Jill. We're ready for the trailer for next week's episode. I'm
Oh
excited.
yeah, if you're done talking about the episode and everything, if you didn't have any more
Uh,
to expand on it.
well, I loved it. I'm biased. I'm probably going to say it about every episode. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
I loved it too.
Oh, yeah, and I thank you for reading that excerpt and that information at the beginning of the episode. It was a blast.
Hmm.
And we'll be talking together on Twitter, and I'll arrange the same time or the 7 p.m. Next Monday. And everybody, I wanted to plug, please, Antiderivative Jill's channel. She'll have her stream tomorrow, covering
Yes,
the
the
original
cage.
series, The Cage.
Yes, I
So,
love Captain Kirk, but Captain Pike, man, he looks good.
oh yes, yeah, it's we'll cover that when we get there on why the actor didn't stick around.
Yeah, right. There are reasons.
Yes, there
Yeah,
are reasons.
we'll save it for tomorrow.
Yes, and thank you, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. And I wanted to thank everyone in the chat: Jedi
He
Bill,
is.
Scotty,
I agree.
Son of a Red Shirt, and I think Eric Sonder was here.
Hmm.
I don't remember. Scroll. Charles Bard was here. Thank you, Charles, for making it. I want to try to give everybody attention. I'm not ignoring anybody, by the way. And I tried to plug some of the channels, but my Stream Elements bot seems to be on strike. I'm gonna find a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and did we say hello to Jedi Bill? Hi, Jedi Bill. If
Hail
you did,
Jedi Bill.
Yeah. Hey, pop culture, you forgot to thank 69 Mega for showing up.
69 Mega, yes, thank you, 69 Mega. And Stream Elements, thanks, but no thanks.
And Pike is hot. And so for next week, we're going to have my favorite animated series episode next Monday at 7 p.m. Central instead of 9, so that I won't be stepping on Clobby.
And we will have a blast.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is a trailer for. Let me know if you can hear it for it, or unless you want to close out with it. What do you want to do?
I guess we can close out, but I know people have things to do.
Yeah, and other
Um,
streams to watch.
yes, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Tell us about your channel.
Well, on Wednesdays, we watch Beyond Belief. There, we try to figure out which shows are true and which one, or which. Beyond Belief has 5 stories per episode, and you gotta guess which ones are true and which ones are complete bullshit. There, I average 4 out of 10. So there on Thursdays, I'll be defending Rascals from TNG. I'm
Oh
trying to get.
wow,
Uh,
Rascals! Oh my
uh,
God, Magic Transporter time.
I'm gonna be trying a new thing with that there. I'm not sure if I'll be doing anything Friday yet. I'm not quite sure. Saturdays are Babylon 5. We literally just started season 2 for Babylon 5. There will be doing episodes 3 and 4. And then on Sunday we're doing a double feature there. We're watching Iron Eagle and Iron Eagle 2.
Perfect,
Cool.
beautiful. I will try to be there if I'm not working. I promise, sir.
We're starting early that day because uh um so that uh Resolute Germ could make it there. But yeah, we're gonna be watching the first 2. Russia shit. That probably doesn't make sense to anybody who hasn't seen it.
Bye bye, Hakeem, and everybody once again on the chat. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And Jill, anything you want to say about your channel?
Yes, tomorrow we'll be reviewing the TOS pilot, The Cage, and that's going to be a lot of fun at 11 a.m. Then on Friday, I'm going to be celebrating Gene Roddenberry's birthday because it would have been his 101st birthday,
All right.
and we'll see what I can come up with for that. And I should have Scotty R37 on the panel there, and anyone else is welcome to join the party.
I'll be listening for sure. I'll be working, but I will be there in the chat.
Yes. Okay, great. And that's
Beautiful.
all
All
I
right.
got for now. Oh, and following Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but next, I'll be on King Dolphin TV doing a Deep Space Nine stream about
Very
friends and
cool.
frenemies of the series.
Very nice. Yes, I highly recommend King Dolphin TV, everybody. Raymond's a really nice guy.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Thank you and have a great night, everybody. Until tomorrow, please join us tomorrow on Antiderivative Jill's channel for Star Trek the Original Series. And have a great night and peace.
Good night.
Stand by.
Captain's log supplemental. When we were in the time vortex, something appears to have changed the present as we know it. No one aboard recognizes Mr. Spock.
Who's he, Jim?
I don't know what's going on, but the first officer of this ship will be treated with respect.
Captain, I assure you no one has ever treated me otherwise.
Who are you?
Oh, I thought sure you'd know Theron by now, Jim. He's been your first officer for 5 years.
The wife was killed in a shuttle accident at Lunaport on her way home to Earth. Ambassador Sarek has not remarried.
The son. What was his name and age when he died?
Spock, age 7.
I wish to visit the planet Vulcan. 30 Vulcan years past.
Thank you. I don't know if that music is in there, but okay. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. And of course, course, I played the wrong one. Sorry. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night.